I think there's context that matters here, though, and I think there's two things to consider. One is that Odegaard was perfectly happy just staying at Real Sociedad. Like, he didn't ask to come back. He wasn't rushed to come back. He was fine there. The loan spell wasn't over. There was 1 year left, and Real Madrid said, "No, you're coming home early." And he said, "Okay," and Real Sociedad said, "Okay," and now he's back. And now you fast forward a few months, you're like, "Okay, for what? Why did you ask me to come back?" And so there's a counter to that, and be like, well, we need you for depth and be patient. I get that, but like, was that really better for all parties involved, including your club itself, to take that to break up that marriage between Sociedad and Odegaard? The other thing is, at this point, with Real Madrid letting him go, they're clearly okay with letting him go, right? Odegaard is not putting a gun to Real Madrid's head and saying, "You have to send me back on loan." The club can decide to be like, "No, we need you for depth purposes." So the fact that the club is also totally on board with sending Odegaard back out on loan, it seems like they value the decision to get him playing time, get him back to match fitness levels and whatnot. Also, look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not a sports scientist. From what I read about this chronic knee injury, and the way that also Rafa Nadal and Cristiano Ronaldo have experienced it, it's one of those things where you have to constantly be fit and on top of it. So I wonder if that also weighs into this. Like, if you're not playing, you need to hit a certain rhythm. It's hard to get back into fitness. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just stuff I've read about this injury. But even that aside, I think that the club being okay, you can go somewhere where you can play, and we found you a good home. Arteta seems to want you, pushing for you. I think that context matters, and I think it's unfair to label Odegaard's mentality as such and call him impatient and being worried about his mentality. To me, it's actually a sign of hunger, that he wants to play, that he wants to be match fit, he wants to be ready, he wants to make an impact, a positive impact, he wants to be the best player he can be. And I also think it's unfair to talk about patience when, like, as much as we look at the ages of these players and like, okay, he's only 22, he's only 23, whatever, he has time. Careers flash by, man. They really do. Like, they really just flash by. If you look at some of the ages of the youngsters we were tracking for a few years, and like, they're in their mid-20s now, and if you don't have momentum by your mid-20s, you're not on track to hit your peak by your late 20s. Like, all this stuff goes by really quick. I'm always, if a player wants to play more, I always give power to him. I put myself in their shoes, and I'm okay with it. I was okay with, as much as Marcos Llorente got heat for going to Atletico, I'm like, look, he gets to live in the city that he wants to live in, play a bunch of football, work his way back into the Spanish national team. Well, we can't fault him for that. Like, and look, Odegaard's not gone yet, and a lot of people think that maybe he's not coming back, but I think this was a fine decision. I think it actually benefits all parties involved. Some people didn't see it that way. I actually think it benefits Odegaard. I think it benefits Real Madrid at this point. And I think it benefits Arsenal. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. I have trouble seeing this being a disaster. If that's where the bar is. That's the worst case scenario, if it's a disaster and Arsenal don't get better and Odegaard doesn't get better. I just feel like it's not going to get to that stage.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing there's two things I worry about. One, the scenario we've seen so many times before, the Kovacic scenario, where they like where they're at, they want to stay, the coach is whispering sweet nothings into their ear, and come the summer, they decide, you know what, screw Real Madrid, especially if Zidane's still there, they're going to say, I'm not going to have the role I want, and so he leaves.
Well, that's not his fault still.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And then you're right. That's not his fault. And I just, from a Real Madrid fan perspective, it would be devastating.
Yes.
And then two, the only way I do see this going poorly is if that knee injury really is still ever present. it bogs him down. He can't perform to his best abilities. Arsenal kind of force him to continue to play. He doesn't play well. The fans get riled up. They want that young kid, Emil Smith Rowe, to play instead. Like that's the only way it could really go wrong. And then Real Madrid get this asset that comes back to them that has a knee injury that he can't get over. That's the only way I could see it going wrong. But that's like if you're being super, super negative.